Welcome back. Dreams don't expire, and I'm just Janae. I'm so glad you joined us today. So, me and my husband just got back from spending some time up on our beloved mountains. It's where I feed my soul. And I have to tell you, I always come home with a full heart and honesty, a whole new perspective. The mountains, nature, they always teach me something. They're really one of the best teachers there is if you're willing to slow down and actually pay attention. So I want to share some of my insights that I get when I'm up on the mountains, up in nature. And I think that this is something that most of us need to hear. All right, so the first thing I seen that stopped me is there were these black trees in whole sections of mountain that had been through a wildfire. And when you first look at it, and I mean really look at it, it's devastating. Blackened trees, just looks like desolation. Silence where there used to be life. And honestly, the first instinct is just to feel the loss of it. But then as we got closer, I started looking deeper. And not all of it was gone. There was new growth. There was new greenery. Little shoots of green pushing out of the darkness, right? Refusing to quit. Here's what hit me. The fire had looked like the end, but it wasn't. It was actually a clearing of way for something new. And I don't know what fire you've walked through. Maybe it was a divorce, a health crisis, losing someone you loved, losing a job, losing yourself. That was me. Maybe you're standing in the middle of your burned down forest right now, and all you can see is the destruction. I want you to look closer, because I promise you, new growth is already starting. You might not be able to see it yet, but it is there. Life is stubborn like that. The fire doesn't get the final word. You do. Now, another one of my lessons I've learned. And it might make you laugh and maybe cringe a little, because I think most of us have done this exact thing. My husband and I were hunting, and early on we'd spotted this beautiful 3-point buck in this one area. And we were so thrilled, and we became, oh, we got to go see it. So naturally, we went back the next day. No deer. We went back again. No deer. We kept going back to that same spot day after day for over a month and a half. No signs, no tracks, nothing. Just us standing in that same place, expecting something different to show up. We were living in the past. And finally, my husband said, maybe we should go somewhere else. And I looked at him and I just said, you think? We keep coming back to the exact same place, expecting something different. And that is the literal definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. That's what we do when we live in the past. So here's my question for you today. Where in your life are you doing that? Where are you showing up to the same spot, using the same approach, putting in the same effort, and then wondering why nothing is changing? Maybe it's your business strategy. Maybe it's how you're having these same arguments with your spouse. Maybe it's the same self-defeating thought pattern you've seen for the last 20 years. If what you're doing isn't working, move on. Try something new. Explore a different canyon, because the 3-point buck, he's out there. You just have to be willing to go somewhere you haven't been before. Sound familiar? All right. Now, the next lesson. We took his suggestion and my advice, and we went exploring. And we found this canyon we had never seen before. We started riding up, and it was gorgeous. But partway through, it got a little hairy, a little rocky, a little steep, a little uncertain. And we genuinely didn't know what we were going to run into. We had a choice. We could turn back to what was comfortable, or we could push through. We pushed through, and when we got to the top, it opened up into this breathtaking plateau. Trees, open sky, a little pond, just sitting there peaceful as anything. It was one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen, and totally unexpected. We would never have seen it if we had turned back when it got hard, when it got uncomfortable. And I think about how many times in my life I almost turned back. I almost said no to that thing that scared me. Almost let the hard middle convince me that the destination wasn't worth it. The uncomfortable is not a sign you're going the wrong way. Sometimes, usually, it's the exact sign that you're going the right way. So wherever you are right now, in the middle of something hard, something uncertain, something that's asking more than you feel like you have, don't turn around. The plateau is up there. Keep going. Get uncomfortable. That's where all your dreams are. Otherwise, you'd already have them, right? Now, here's my favorite one, and this one hit me hard. On the way up that canyon, we passed these enormous trees, and they were huge. They had definitely been standing there for decades, strong, established, deeply rooted, and the weight of the snow that winter had broken them, snapped them right in half. But right next to it, right next to all those massive broken trees, was this little tree, smaller, younger, and instead of breaking, it had bent. It had curved under the weight and then came back up. It stood there, and I just stared at it for a minute because there was so much truth in that image. We think strength means being the biggest, the most established, the most rooted. We think if we can just be strong enough, nothing will break us. But sometimes that thing that saves you isn't rigidity, it's flexibility. It's the willingness to bend without breaking, to adapt, to absorb the weight of a hard season and come back on the other side. You don't have to be the mightiest tree on the mountain to make it through the winter. You just have to be willing to bend. Here's what the mountains taught me. Fire is not the end. Look for the new growth. Stop going back to the same empty spot and expecting a different result. Be willing to move. The uncomfortable path is often the one that leads to the most beautiful place. Again, that's where your dream is. So push through. And you don't have to be the strongest to survive. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is bend. Nature doesn't try to teach us these things. It just lives through them. And if we slow down enough to pay attention, it reminds us of truths we already carry deep inside. I don't know what mountain you're on, what mountain you're climbing right now, but I know this. You were made for it. Keep going. You have something amazing. So take the time to do the hard, to be willing to bend, to look for your growth, because we all go through a fire of some sort. It's not going to look like anybody else's, but we all go through one. And whether you're in the spot that the growth isn't noticeable yet, trust me, it's still happening. If you're in the spot of growth but you're not where you need to be, that's okay, because guess what? Growth is continual. It's never ending. Take a minute. Look at where you're at. Be grateful for where you're at and the lessons you are learning. I know that where you're going is exactly where you're meant to be, but you need these life lessons to take you there. So take a moment and look at what you've learned and don't ignore them. Choose to take that knowledge and do what you need to do with it. Choose to not get so stuck in the devastation and the destruction that you don't see the growth, that you don't change the path, that you don't bend. You've got this. Thank you for spending this time with me and for listening with an open heart, for choosing to invest in your growth today. If this episode spoke to you, I would love for you to share it with someone else who just may need the reminder that their dreams still matter. Sometimes one conversation, one message, one moment of encouragement can change everything. And if you want to go deeper, my book, Rise, Believe, Become, was written with you in mind. There is more out there for you. Your potential is so much bigger than you'll know. This is your time to find the courage to take the next step in your journey. You can find my book on Amazon. This is just Janae reminding you that no matter what phase you are in, your dreams don't expire. Until next time, keep rising.